Courtney Barriger, your host of Environmental Style Now, the A to Z podcast on all that is sustainable fashion. On this episode of ES Now, I'm going to show you behind the curtain. Because most of the days, I am all about all things sustainable fashion. But I'm also a writer of fantasy and fiction, and I am developing a project right now that crosses the barrier of paper and will be seen on the big screen. And while I can't speak too much about that right now, I want to give you a little bit of insight into how lucid dreaming has become an instrumental tool in all of my written works, both as a subject matter and as a practitioner. Hey, it's Courtney Barriger, and on this episode of ES Now, I'm going to teach you the power behind lucid dreaming and manifestation, and give you real-life tools on how to improve your journey into the unknown at night. This is a pre-recorded talk that I gave many years ago, and it's probably going to sound a little bit like a younger version of me, but I was using this when I was writing my book, The Royal Robe, which is an eco-fashion tale. And the implications are incredible for personal growth and also for rewriting the subconscious script to become a better steward of the planet. So there's a lot of ways that you can use lucid dreaming, and I can't wait to share these practices with you. Let's jump right in. Everybody dreams and everybody has desires. And science has unlocked a way to bring the two of them together to where you are now actively manifesting in your sleep. So in this class, you're going to learn a bit of the science behind it, some of the facts that come from a Harvard study that's been going on for over 50 years. And of course, I'll go over some practices to help hone in your skills at lucid dreaming so that if you are even just okay at it, in a couple of weeks, you should be really good at it. I know for a fact that these methods have worked for me, and I'm a 100% pretty wild lucid dreamer myself. And finally, just some sleep hygiene ideas to talk about. So yeah, let's jump right in. So humans spend about a third of their life sleeping. I know there's a common thought, especially in Asia, where people are workaholics, and we're workaholics here too, that, oh God, if I could just not sleep, I would get so much more done. But the body requires sleep. There's something that happens all throughout the day as we work. Our brains start to get clogged with proteins. It's information that's just passing through and hasn't been placed. And what sleep does is rearranges all of these. It clears everything out so that the next day you have a brand new pathway to begin sorting out memories all over again. There's also this misconception that the waking life alone informs your dreams. And while that is somewhat true, it is now proven that your dream state also informs your waking life, and vice versa. So what's interesting about this is it's really an opportunity to use the time that we're asleep to continue pushing forward on the things that we want to achieve in our lives or dream to achieve in our lives. So that could be learning to play the piano, or it could be learning to give more heartfelt speeches, or even just being able to speak in public. Lucid dreaming can help further that for you. And it's sort of being active in a passive state that would otherwise just be filled with, the total fucking weird, excuse my language, but the total fucking weirdness that dreams are. This is an opportunity to further that space and that play, but imposing your own meaning on it, so that what could be becomes even more wild and unimaginable. So there are many ways that this can be used. And physical performance is one of the main ways that it has been shown that can improve your waking performance. and creative exploration, rehearsing, and physical tasks in general. And before I go any further, I should tell you a bit more about who I am, why I'm qualified to speak on this, and why it's, an interest of my own. So I'm sort of what they might call a psychic dreamer. Information comes to me in my sleep that I probably shouldn't know, but I do. And it's, of course, during REM sleep, and it shows up in the form of dreams. But oftentimes, these dreams actually have a root in a reality happening to someone that I love, or happening in my neighborhood, or sometimes across the house that I shouldn't know about. For example, I had a dream one time about a corner where spiders just started coming out everywhere. Spiders absolutely everywhere. And it was a terrifying dream. And when I woke up and crossed the house, just going about my daily life, I went into the laundry room, and a spider's egg had hatched, and there were thousands of little spiders dropping down from the ceiling. And it was a surprise to me, actually. I was, whoa, how did I visually saw that happen from the other room in my sleep. Doesn't make a sound, but it made an imprint somehow in my psyche. So from that state on, and I've been an active lucid dreamer as well, I've just become fascinated with the dream state. I've even I've based 2 books of literature that I've written on the dream state. One of them is just an entire book of dreams by a woman who's forgotten her past and relives it through her dreams. So she's trying to put her life back together through the information that her dreams give her. And the second book is about a man in his late 70s who has never traveled and didn't actually pursue what he loves in his real life. And the story follows him as he sleepwalks on his last day on Earth. And he's walking in a lucid dream. And in his dream, he gets to experience many of the things that he didn't actually get to do in real life. And it begs the question of, was it real or not? And having a dream that is that satisfying enough to have as an ending. Because sometimes dreams can be more satisfying than real life. It's absolutely bizarre and personal space that no one else can intrude upon. And that's why I think there's so much potential here, because it is a microcosm that is practically your own, that if you do find a way and are able to seize control over it, you could be playing piano on Mars. It could be almost an LSD trip, and you might still find a way to seize control over that and it be wholly unique to yourself and your wants and your desires. Pretty cool. So let's jump into some of the science behind lucid dreaming. A Harvard study over the past 50 years has been collecting research, and they found that about 55% of participants did experience lucid dreams. They were able to test that by a system of tapping. So at a certain time of night, they would watch the sleepers, and the sleepers that were lucid dreaming would tap out a sequence with their finger to alert that they were indeed awake asleep. And meanwhile, they're having brain scans and showing that they are indeed fully asleep. So that was how they proved it. And more importantly and cool is that 23% of lucid dreamers can have a lucid dream once a month. That is pretty cool, because considering an extra 12 days of the year where you can practice something or hone in a skill, that is awesome. Now imagine that you're able to amplify that. Let's talk about the stages of sleep. So, most people are pretty familiar with it, but I think we should just discuss it anyway. So what happens when you sleep? You have these 4 stages, and the 4 stages repeat themselves several times throughout the night, usually in about 3 to 4 hour chunks, and in between you usually wake up. Sometimes you don't, but that's sort of the map. So as you fall asleep, stage 1, your heart starts to slow down, your muscles start to relax. This is usually maybe 10 minutes of stage 1 is the shortest stage. Now, during stage 2, it's a light sleep. Your body temperature starts to drop. You start to kind of go into that, what is considered sleep paralysis, body just totally shutting down in that slowness. And that's usually about 20 minutes. And even in this 20 minutes, what are called spindles start to happen, and your brain does start to clean up some of those proteins that have been clogging you throughout the day. That's why they suggest when you take a nap, it should just be about 20 minutes, because otherwise you start to fall into stage 3, which is your deep, deep sleep. It is considered, sometimes they call it delta wave sleep. It's one of the slowest, if not the slowest, alive state of brain waves that you exist at. And that's when all the big repairs start to happen. You are in total body paralysis. Your immune system is releasing cytokines to fight off inflammation. You have growth hormones pulsing through your body, repairing, growing, deeply reparative, lasts for a very long time. So if you're taking a nap, try to just make it that 20 minutes, because this is what you're trying to avoid for napping. But if you're going for all night, then this is one of the best and most reparative parts of your sleep. Now, stage 4 is where it starts to get into the lucid dreaming state, the most interesting state of all, REM sleep. So it lasts about 90 minutes or so, and memory of it usually occurs toward the end. But those of us who have more control can remember a lot more of the wild adventures that happen while asleep. But it increases over time overnight. So your first cycle of REM sleep can sometimes just be about 10 minutes. And then you go into a full new cycle of 4 stages again. And the next time it's longer. And the very last cycle of the night going into the morning is your longest. So if we were looking at a place to work on lucid dreaming, this would be where it is. Most people have their lucid dreams occur toward the morning during their last cycle of sleep. And it makes sense because it's the longest. And what's interesting about what's happening here is during your REM sleep, the same scientists who were studying, lucid dreamers with Harvard discovered that brain waves look very similar to when you're awake. During your dreams, the physical activity that you're doing in your imagination is triggering in your mind almost exactly the same as when you're awake. This sort of freaked out scientists at first. They didn't know what they were seeing, and they weren't sure if it was real. I mean, this is 50 years of study. So as it developed longer, they started to practice more of the lucid dreaming to see how much more control the sleeper can assert. Now, yeah, it's the perfect time. Sorry, I have these notes and where am I? Yeah, the perfect time for memorizing new motor skills. And also, kind of, if you're a creative, seizing control over whatever fucking wild planet you're on. Now, to get into the practices, first of all, you need to have a very healthy sleep hygiene in general. A lot of us spend way too much time on the phone, too close before bedtime, also watching TV. Anything that with a blue light emitting out of it is completely messing with your circadian rhythms. So, a few simple ways that you can combat that just to get you back into a regular, healthy sleep cycle is to, well, if you must be on the phone, at least put it into nighttime mode so the screen is, yellow instead of blue. That's, basically ordering a cheeseburger and fries but not getting a Coke and saying that it's healthy. So let's not do that. let's at least 3 hours before bedtime turn off the screen. I promise you, you can do it. Another way that you can reset your circadian rhythm is to go outside and get at least 30 minutes of direct sunlight on your face, on your body. It all absorbs in there and it tells your body, this is daytime, and when night comes, I will be going to sleep. Sounds really simple, but it is absolutely, absolutely necessary. Other things, dietary, exercise. Caffeine has a pretty long shelf life, coffee the most of all of them. So coffee is a half-life of about 6 hours. So if sometimes you're at the office and you want to get that extra cup of coffee, just make sure that it's not after 3. You have about 6 hours of caffeine coursing through your veins from whenever you drink that cup on. And if you make it a double espresso, then add on to that. Green tea is about 4 hours. Black tea is 3. And then from then on, it gets a little bit less. I couldn't tell you about Coca-Cola. I don't have the numbers on that, but decrease the caffeine. And then, interestingly enough, another really good habit for sleep hygiene is to take a bath or shower at least 2 hours before you are planning on going to bed. What that does is your body, when you get into phase 2 of sleep, it cools down significantly. So making your bedroom cold already helps your body to reach that temperature faster. And if you get under hot water or in hot water, what it does is it brings all of the heat of your body to the surface and cools down the internal temperature of the body. So your core temperature goes down, but the surface area goes up. And what it ends up equaling at the end is that you're actually going to get colder faster for the night. It's one of the more fascinating things that I've read recently about sleep. So once you have a healthy sleep hygiene and you're getting regularly all stages of your sleep multiple times a night, so that by the end of the night, coming into morning, you have the longest REM sleep window that you can possibly have, then you are ready to start this. If you're not getting good sleep, it's just not a good time for you to work on manifesting in your dreams. It's just going to be so much harder. Also, exercise. Can't forget exercise. So, as I was saying, once you have at least a solid 2 weeks of healthy sleeping, then you can start tracking your dreams. So the first thing you'll do, and anyone who is also a reverend or a priestess with the Isis Oasis has done this, buy a dream journal. You are going to start tracking your dreams. And you can do this in the middle of the night when you wake up, from that 10-minute window, from that 40-minute window, first thing in the morning. Whenever you have a dream, write it down. Details. Details are very important. The emotional journey is great, but you want to mark things that show up again and again. And I'll tell you why later. But start that, and with at least, even with your life experience, you should probably know your repeating dreams by now. And go ahead and write those down first because it gives you a head start. But keep track of those dreams. And then after you've done this for a while and you've got a good handle on what's showing up again, you're going to start looking for dream signs. So dream signs, they're the images that continue to show up throughout your dream cycles. For me, a dream sign I have is this bridge in Florida that I used to drive over all the time as a kid to go to my aunt's house. I don't know why it shows up all the time, but there it is in my dreams again and again and again. And when I see it, I say, oh, I'm in a dream. This is a dream. So you're trying to identify moments while you're dreaming that remind you that you're dreaming. Recognition is one of the first parts of lucid dreaming. So we are trying to hone in and build the skill of recognizing your dream. Now, practicing this is super fun. And I mean, who knows? You might need to get a a therapist just to help you out. What does it mean? Or, actually, well, Freud has that whole book on dreams and dream signs. So I am curious. I've never actually read the whole thing, but I've poked around in there sometimes and kind of bullshit. Don't really believe him, but, worth looking into. Why not? So while you're doing this, while you're keeping your dream journal and you are searching out your dream signs throughout the day when you're awake, there's a practice that's called a reality check. It sounds kind of funny, but this will really help you determine whether or not you're dreaming later on. And it really is asking yourself, am I dreaming or am I awake? Am I dreaming or am I awake? And ask yourself this 10 times a day. You could even set yourself a reminder. Or every time I see a red light, I ask myself, am I dreaming or am I awake? Attaching it to physical objects is actually really good because it probably will show up in your dream as a dream sign. What you're trying to do is train your brain to constantly ask this question so that when you actually are dreaming, you're just going to go there. It's sort of when you've played your favorite song or a new song that you've played it again and again and again. And it's just the song's just in your head. It's just there. It's occurring in the background, just kind of playing there. That's what you want. Am I dreaming or am I awake? Am I dreaming or am I awake? Now putting all this into play, you see your dream sign. You ask, am I dreaming or am I awake? That is when you grab a hold of, this is actually pretty advanced. So this is going to take you a little while probably to get here. For me, when I started practicing, it was 6 months before I got to this next portion, but it's what you got to do. After you've trained yourself to wake yourself up mentally in the dream, begin the lucid dream, choose a performing task that's easy, that you will do immediately to grab a hold of your reality. For me, I chose spinning in a circle. Other people choose clapping their hands. So it'll be, okay, there's the bridge. Am I dreaming or am I awake? I think I'm dreaming. Now, not only have you identified that you're in a dream, you are now performing in that dream. And you want to do this until you can do it effortlessly. It's very hard, but I promise you it is worth it. Because dreaming is just the final frontier, guys. Come on. Who isn't? I am fascinated with the dream life. So any way that I can gain control and go deeper and heal myself or learn something, there is endless potential in what you can do here in your dream state. Am I dreaming or am I awake? Am I dreaming or am I awake? Now that you're here, this is where you choose what you're going to perform or better yourself at, right? I know. No one said it would be easy. If I were you, even before you begin at the top of your dream journal, write your manifesting statement. What is it that you want to manifest? For me, I want to manifest being a successful actor. There's a lot of fun things going on in my life, and I could tell you all about that, but for whatever reason, that's where my heart is right now. And that is where I go in my dreams. So, dream journal, finding my repeating signs, there's the bridge. Am I dreaming or am I awake? The next thing I know, and I'm not kidding, I'm on set and I have lines memorized. And there are very successful actors around me. I mean, that's pretty easy to grab a hold of because I think I watch too much TV, but yes, there they are. And I'm interacting with them, and there's this moment of, I'm on set. I'm on set. Holy shit. Okay. And then I'm there. I am playing in the big leagues, and I know my lines and I know what I'm doing. And sometimes I'm a man. It's very weird. Dreams are super weird. Can't control everything, but this is where I get to practice. And it's pretty cool. And I bet you could find that space too. I bet you if you really wanted to become a better golfer, even, Maybe you want to be a better golfer. Maybe you want to be able to play the most amazing harmonies on the singing bowls. And you hear it and you know you can. And in your dreams, you find that so much faster and so much easier. Because just in real life, the more you practice, the better you get. And now you're practicing in the other third of your life that's getting missed out on. Imagine potential. When to practice this. Now, sometimes finding the lucid dream can be elusive. So, not every night that you dream will you find the lucid dream. But there are places and times where it comes to you a little bit easier. So, some of these practices that we can do to find it faster are and this is, these are the healthier ones. There are some unhealthy ones that I don't think anyone should practice. But for example, you've just slept the whole night and you have an alarm that wakes you up. This time, instead of setting your alarm at 7:30, set it at 7:20, knowing that after you wake up, you are going to let yourself slip back into your dream for another 10 minutes. Sleep to wake lucid dreaming is one of the easiest and most accessible ways to get into a lucid dream. The reason why is because your brain is already relaxed, your body is already relaxed, you have already been in the dream, and all you're doing now is remembering and leaning lightly back into it, but this time with more purpose. And oftentimes I find that I can find almost exactly where I just was. And then, of course, it kind of zooms off and becomes something new. But this is where I personally find the most control in my lucid dreaming, is that sleep to wake lucid dream, wake up, go back to sleep. And you don't even have to do it with an alarm. If your body naturally wakes itself up with the sun or what have you, it's very easy to find it again. But you must go back to sleep. A lot of people, when they wake up, oh, I'm awake now. This is a method to chase down that elusive lucid dream. And this one works for sure. There are other ones. I don't approve of these because they mess with your circadian rhythm, but if you're desperate and you really want to find it, you can probably find it here too. You set an alarm in the middle of the night. And what you'd probably do is say, if you go to bed at 10, then around 2 a.m., you've gone through your first cycle. Or really, I think 2 a.m. is a bit too soon. I would say maybe around 12:30 a.m., your first cycle will be done. And let's go 3 hours later. So we'll say 3:30. 3:30 is when you would set your alarm. This is why I don't approve of it, but apparently it works. You wake yourself up in the middle of the night. If your dream is slipping away from you, you write it down, you look at it, and you try to re-enter. Worth a try if you can't get it in the morning. But again, I don't approve of messing with the natural body's circadian rhythms. So, but if you must, give it a try. It does work. And then one kind of weird side effect that can happen from doing sleep to wake lucid dreaming is body paralysis, sleep paralysis. So this happens because, well, it's pretty obvious. You have already woken up and made yourself go back to sleep, but now you're still in the in-between. And the in-between can have various levels too. You can be in sleep paralysis and totally aware of your environment around you and unable to move. That is one variable. It can be terrifying. You can also have lucid dreaming where your eyes are open and there are people in the room with you and you can see the room. The room is with you, but you have no control over your body. And the dream is in there with you. So your visions are imposed upon your reality. That is a form of lucid dreaming as well, and also has the same potential. I mean, it sounds weird, but I've had actors in my room with me practicing lines. And that one's really crazy because My boyfriend's in bed with me and he's, "Who are you talking to?" What? I was sleeping, totally asleep. But yeah, this is sort of in a nutshell how I use dreams to manifest what I want and practice what it is that I'm working toward in the lucid dream. So, as a quick little review, step one, you know, sleep hygiene. Make sure you're getting solid rest. And then you're going to dream journal. And then you're going to start tracking those. You will start to track. You're going to find your bridge or that tree that always shows up or the lake that you used to go to, whatever it is your dream sign is. You're going to start tracking your dream sign. And then once you recognize your dream sign, you'll ask yourself, am I asleep or am I awake? And that is something that you do in the daytime as well. Am I asleep or am I awake? And finally, once you are in your dream and you recognize your dream sign, you will do something to physically gain control of your dream. The clap, the spin, the fly. Some people, that's something that I also will do if I'm in the dream. Oh, wait, this is a dream. That's right. I can fly. Take off. Whatever it is that your dream, that you identify and choose in advance to be that action that you take to trigger the lucid dream. And then you're there. You go ahead and play piano, whatever you. And if you do fall into sleep paralysis, that's cool. You know, Salvador Dali used to have some crazy imaginations happening when he was in sleep paralysis. Mary Shelley, that was a dream. That was a lucid dream. And I believe Benjamin Franklin also got a lot of his information in the lucid dream state. So I hope that this was fun and informative, and hope that you're inspired to pursue a more active state of dreaming. I think it's interesting that the word dream can mean both of those things, your relaxed state of rest and the place in the imagination where you wish to manifest. There's, in my mind, no coincidence there at all that those have the same meaning. So I hope that you've learned something. And if you have any questions, if you have any reports, I'd love to hear how this is going for you. Please be patient with it. Take your time. But consider this. You have a whole life, the rest of your life to explore this. And if not for a skill or a skill set, then maybe just for your own curiosity, because it is, for me, one of my favorite things, for sure.
All right. Well, I hope that you found this to be a powerful tool for manifesting and just maybe generally interesting. Just imagine if you used it to reinforce your desire to protect the planet by repeating again and again that you choose to shop by your values. Anyway, you can find my works, Nightbook Short Story Anthology and Sleepwalk to the Face on Amazon or at Barnes & Nobles. And keep your eyes open for the upcoming book, The Royal Robe, and the Powers of Collective Dreaming. Thank you for listening, and that's a wrap.
Hey everybody, it's Ellen from Santa Barbara. Yes Now is a Holding Court production. It is written and directed by Courtney Barriger, music by Parker Ainsworth, and a special thank you to Alexander Shuck.